thoroughly clean. And so I'm really happy to find that that's actually not the case, that you really can have like effective cleaning without the use of chemicals. So that's one of the reasons, this topic, kind of interests me so much, because to be honest, if I had to choose between killing germs, if I had to go with either killing germs, but there wasn't a safe alternative, I probably would pick killing the germs, but I'm glad I don't have to choose. So anyways, that's kind of what, prompted my interest in this topic. And I am going to close the door to my office because I can hear my kids being crazy upstairs. So I'll let Cheryl introduce herself.
Okay. Thanks, Lauren. So my name's Cheryl. I am super passionate about the green cleaning, section of maintaining a healthy lifestyle. And particularly when I got started with essential oils a few years ago, I was really interested in just cleaning out my medicine cabinet, getting rid of all the toxic chemicals in our home and making it a safer place for myself and my kids. So I have 2 little boys, they're 1 and 4, and my husband and I have always been kind of passionate, like probably way back when I got pregnant with my first son, we literally wanted the very non-toxic diapers, all the chemicals in our home to be safe and effective, but also we knew that our kids would be touching surfaces that we were wiping and breathing in the chemicals that we were using. So when I learned a little bit more about green cleaning and how essential oils can be incorporated into that, I kind of jumped on it and ran with it, and it's just become a way of life for us. So I'm really excited to share a lot of the tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. And then with Lauren's help as well, with her background in the medical field, the science behind it is actually really fascinating as well. So we hope to have an interesting webinar for you guys tonight. So with that, we'll just get started on why does green cleaning matter? So for Lauren and I know a lot of you that are listening, having a healthy lifestyle and doing better by the environment is super important, right? So the reasons we care about green cleaning are it's better for our personal health, it's better for the environment, it reduces indoor air pollution, it can be cost effective, so we'll share a few tricks to make it cost effective for you. And it can be equally or even superior in effectiveness. So you don't have to, skimp on, the really hard jobs and go immediately back to the toxic chemical cleaning products. Sometimes natural products, other recipes that we'll share today can be even more effective. So if you're just jumping into the essential oil world and you're just trying to get the bandwagon of just getting healthier in general, green cleaning can be a great place to start. If you clean out your medicine cabinet and then the next thing's your refrigerator and the next thing's your vitamins, and it's going to get the ball rolling for you, and it's going to open up a whole new world of safe chemical-free lifestyle. Green cleaning can also feel doable. I know it sounds kind of daunting to go through your medicine cabinet and clean everything out and get rid of things, and you're going to feel like you have to buy so much. But what we're going to show you tonight is you probably have a lot of these things on hand in your kitchen already. So it's totally doable. And then lastly, there's going to be some ways where you don't have to do a big clean out, but you can just simply swap a few things out, and your impact on the environment is going to be less, and it's going to be healthier for you and your family. So we hope that you learn a little bit. And again, if you have any questions, we're going to take questions towards the end. But if you have anything that you're thinking of as we're talking, you can feel free to insert that in the chat bar, and we'll try to keep our eye on that and answer those as we go along too. And then just at the top of the webinar, we wanted to highlight this month, doTERRA is putting on a really great promotion that kind of ties into the green cleaning. I keep messing that up for some reason, cleaning.
It is hard to say.
I don't know what's wrong with me tonight. I'm like tongue-tied. But anyways, so the 200 PV promotion doTERRA has this month is if you spend 200, you'll get the 4 products at the bottom of the screen. So it's the On Guard Essential Oil, which we'll go over that in a little bit more detail later. On Guard Hand Sanitizer Mist, which is awesome. I carry one of those in my purse all the time. The On Guard Whitening Toothpaste, which I love, I use all the time, and Wild Orange. So Wild Orange and On Guard are 2 really great cleaning oils, and we'll go over why a little bit later on. And then also this month, the Cleaner Concentrate, which is kind of a ready-to-go solution you just add water to. It's for, you know, a counter spray or any sort of, you know, stain remover. We'll go over all those tips. But this Cleaner Concentrate is 10% off this month. Oh, and then the Rosemary Oil, of course, is before the 15th, is the product of the month. So these are just promotions we want to kind of go over because it really ties in well with the green cleaning initiative we're talking about tonight. So with that, I think Lauren is going to go over the next section.
Yeah, so to be honest, when I was starting to kind of look into some of the stats and facts on, you know, current cleaning, kind of the commercial cleaning supplies, I had a feeling like I wasn't going to find good things, but to be honest, it was worse than what I was expecting it to be when I looked at some of the stats and studies. So I think a lot of people, myself included, I used to make the assumption that just because it's on the shelves and available, you know, at the supermarket, that it must be safe, or else why would it be on the shelves? And unfortunately, you know, I've learned that that's not always the case. So a lot of, you know, commercial cleaners contain substances that have been linked to some pretty serious health problems like asthma, cancer, reproductive and developmental delays, allergies and irritations, you know, accidental burns and poisonings. I mean, if you're a parent, we all know you have to, you know, if you use regular cleaner, you got to keep everything either locked up or up high because, you know, you can't have little ones getting into that stuff. And then even some increased bacterial resistance, which I will say in healthcare is a huge, huge concern in terms of, you know, bacteria becoming more resistant to the antibiotics we use. There feels like there's a growing list of bacteria that we isolate for. You know, we put patients in isolation, like you have to, you know, wear the yellow gown and gloves, or, you know, depending on what kind of, if it's contact or airborne, whatever kind of isolation it is. But that's definitely like a growing problem. Sorry, Cheryl, do you mind going to the next slide, or do I have control of the mouse for the, or if not, I'll just have you. So for asthma, there were a few things that I learned that I thought were worth noting. So I think most people know that harsh chemicals and fumes can trigger asthma, and people that have a known history of asthma, you know, along with, you know, lots of other things, like some people have exercise induced, there's other things. But what I didn't know is that there's been studies that suggest regular commercial cleaning products can actually trigger asthma to develop in people who have no history of asthma. So there was a pretty big study that was done across 10 countries and, you know, 3,500 individuals that had no history of asthma. And then 9 years later, the ones that used spray cleaners at least once a week had a 30 to 50% increased risk of developing asthma during the study period, which I thought was, you know, fascinating. Like I said, just because I didn't know it could, you know, actually trigger it to develop in the first place. So if you want to go to the next slide, Cheryl, perfect. So, and then cancer, which, I mean, unfortunately, it just seems that cancer is everywhere in our society. I work at a really large university hospital here in the Pacific Northwest. And so we do see, I would say, more cancer than the average, just because our capacity at our hospital to do certain, you know, surgeries that other community hospitals can't do. We bring people in, but I work in surgery right now, or in the recovery room. And I mean, it's just cancer patient after cancer patient after cancer patient coming in. And obviously that's a really big discussion as to what, you know, causes and contributes, but there's definitely some known carcinogens that are in our cleaning products. And so if we can swap those out and reduce, our exposure to those things and replace it with something effective, I think why not do it? So a lot of common cleaning ingredients that are no carcinogens are things like this 1,4-dioxane, formaldehyde, bleach has things, other vapors in it. But so another studies looked at like a group of 1,500 women, half of who'd been diagnosed with breast cancer, and they saw a link between household cleaners and cancer. So the ones that use the greatest amount of cleaning products, the top 25%, were twice as likely to have breast cancer as those in the bottom 25%. And then also something that was interesting is that the ones who used air fresheners were also had the highest risk. So air fresheners are particularly toxic of all the different kind of toxic cleaning products out there. And then allergies and irritations. So kind of along that same vein with cancer, that fragrance, which is also in cleaning products, a lot of other things, but laundry detergents, even just different cleaning products have synthetic fragrance. And that has actually been nicknamed or labeled the new secondhand smoke. We have an ebook for you guys, and it's referenced at the bottom of the slide here, but I did link up the article for the ebook if you want to read more about this fragrance and being secondhand smoke. But I also didn't know that fragrance is considered among the top 5 allergens. That was something new to me, and it's been shown also that the fragrance that we find in cleaning products and air fresheners cause headaches, breathing difficulty, and then higher incidence in diarrhea and earaches. And then bleach, kind of like we were talking, I was mentioning a little early, respiratory, wheezing.
Can you call me when the medical median comes up?
Are like a complex mixture of basically carcinogenic and irritating gases. So, it'd be worth looking into alternatives for bleach there. And then the next slide. Okay, and then also just reproductive and birth defects. Also, the state of New York looked and women who held cleaning jobs had an elevated risk of having a baby with birth defects. And then another big, health concern, like I mentioned earlier, if you have kiddos, you need to keep, regular cleaning products either locked up or completely out of reach. But they can also cause chemical burns, obviously the poisonings, and then, you can get irritations and allergies. And so we just have to take, you should need to take precautions, anytime that you're, using commercial cleaners. So it would kind of be nice, as a mom, it's nice to, if you can kind of limit the amount of stuff in your home that your kids can need to get into that isn't safe, not to mention what it's doing to pollute the air, around that, like Cheryl said, they're touching surfaces, they're breathing things in, or if you're wiping down their toys with bleach wipes or whatever, babies put their mouths on everything, all that kind of stuff, all kind of contributes to indoor air pollution. So something I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier is, that's a concern is the increased bacterial resistance and hormone disruption. So this, as I said, I'm a little bit of a germaphobe. I'm really big on, washing hands. My daughter, after she uses the restroom, I was like, did you wash your hands? And she's like, yeah, smell, because she knows I'm going to be like, I'm not going to take her word for it unless, she can prove it. And, my husband sometimes rolls his eyes, if he's cooking, and I'm like, did you wash your hand? Anyways, I kind of make my family nuts. But so it was a little bit sad to find out, that triclosan, which is the most common antibacterial agent that they put in commercial antibacterial soaps, is actually been, so there's, the FDA has a long list. The way they kind of categorize things is generally recognized as safe. Essential oils fall in that category. But then the not so generally recognized as safe, so it's the NGRAS, and so the GRAS, that's actually where they've now placed triclosan, is that it's not generally recognized as safe, even though it's been like just rampant in everything. And that is because they found it was basically not just less effective than they thought, it basically was not effective at all. They found it was no more effective than plain soap and water. And then there was evidence that showed it was definitely more harmful than they ever thought. So really no benefit and all risk. And so it's just been showed the hormone disruption, particularly thyroid hormones, and then increased risk to bacterial resistance, which again is really kind of a huge issue in healthcare. To be honest, it's like almost to the point where it's becoming a crisis or is a crisis. So anything we can do to bacterial resistance is important to take note of. And then again in the ebook, I linked up, so the FDA has like basically like banned triclosan and put it on the healthcare is a little bit different, but they are, from what I was reading, like looking towards removing it there as well. Again, just because soap and water is most effective. That's going to take a little longer, but again, I like linked up, you know, take my word for it, the FDA is actually like banning these substances. And so I think the real take home message, that I kind of take from this is, it's good to just, like kind of what I mentioned earlier, not just assume that because something's on the shelf and available at the supermarket that it's necessarily good or safe for us, because there's not a whole lot. Even though I presented some studies and research here, to be honest, after you would read the study, it would say much more research needs to be done. And that was one of like the grim take-home messages, that the research we do have is showing it's not good, but then there's a pretty like just gross deficit of the research that needs to be done. And then in the meantime, all this stuff is still in the market and being used, everywhere. So anyways, that's kind of like the take home, that, we just kind of have to be proactive and, in looking at what we're using in our homes. That's that. And then Cheryl's going to talk about the, zero waste, sustainability, and safety.
Okay, great. Thanks, Lauren. So I mentioned a little bit earlier how, green cleaning can actually, be great for our health, but it can also be great for our environment and reduce the waste output that we are, so accustomed to with our over-the-counter cleaning products. So, when you use essential oils, a lot of us are familiar with the fact that when you put essential oils into another container, you actually need to be using glass. So we typically use glass roller bottles. We use diffusers that have glass inner tubings. In the same vein, using essential oils for cleaning products, we typically use glass or other reusable containers, which is going to help with the zero waste and sustainability factor as well. So there's a little bit of a typo on this slide, I apologize, but glass and reusable containers make less waste because we're going to reuse them over and over again. So the way that I typically use them in my home is I'll have a glass spray bottle for, let's say, some surface spray, maybe another one for an all-natural fabric spray, which would be maybe your replacement of your Febreze, right? So when those products run out, I don't throw them away, right? I re-add more essential oils to that glass container. So I'm never throwing away the container. We can use it several times over. And then I also like the fact that in the green cleaning space, and when you're making your own homemade products, repurposed items you already have on hand. So I've listed a couple of them here. I love mason jars. I use mason jars for everything, for storage, for recipes, for saving things in our refrigerator, like leftovers, soups, anything like that. I drink water out of my mason jars. So I have mason jars on hand. You can use them for cleaning as well. I know a lot of us are kind of coming out of the baby stage, and maybe we're done having kids, but we have all these baby receiving blankets on hand, or any sort of baby blankets that maybe you're ready to part with. You can cut them up and actually use them as reusable wipes. So you can use them for, you know, surface wipes. Again, store them in your mason jar in your natural cleaning solution. Once you use them, throw them in the washing machine, wash them, reuse them, and that's going to be sustainable for the environment, zero waste. Again, you're not throwing away a bunch of paper towels, and you're not throwing away your mason jar container that you would be storing it in. So you can do the same thing with old bed sheets, t-shirts, anything that you can reuse again, use them as rags, throw in the washing machine and reuse them again. Another good one that I just recently actually learned about is galvanized buckets. So those are gonna hold up a lot better than your plastic buckets. And again, we can't typically put essential oils into something that's plastic because it's gonna break down the plastic. The essential oils are so potent and pure that it can actually break down the plastic. And then you're kind of right back where you started from because you're getting all that toxic kind of chemical breakdown in the bucket, and then you're gonna spray that, you know, in your home. So you don't really want that. So galvanized buckets are a great, more sustainable option. They're gonna last a lot longer, and they're gonna be safe for you to use, you know, some of your all-natural products like essential oils. So I kind of alluded to the fact, but packaging is actually accounts for 35% of all plastic waste. And depending on the type of the packaging, the carbon footprint can be anywhere between 2 and 4 pounds of carbon per pound of packaging. So when you're looking at, you know, making your own cleaning products at home, using your glass reusable containers, you really are making a very big impact on the environment. Because you're not constantly throwing away plastic jars and wipes and huge containers of solution that it's going to fill up our landfills and not be great for our, you know, aquatic friends in our rivers, our streams, our oceans, and things like that. Definitely, the zero waste aspect of it is very important. And then another aspect of making your own cleaning products at home, and a lot of people have questions on, is how do I make these things at home and how often do I have to do it, right? So the good thing is that a lot of these homemade recipes have really long shelf lives. And the great thing about that is you can make a huge batch of things at one time that can last you over several months. So it really kind of takes down the, you know, the fear of, I don't know how to make these things, or how often am I going to have to do it? There's a recipe that's in our ebook, and I think Laura's going to talk about it later, but it's these toilet fizzy tabs. And I literally made about 48 of them a couple weeks ago, all in one batch. It maybe took me a half an hour to do, but that big batch is really going to last me, I would say, at least 3 to 5 months. It's going to be sustainable. I didn't have waste using it. I'm storing it in my glass container, and I'm set for 3 to 6 months. I'm making it in bulk, and we'll go over the recipe in a little while, but it's really common stuff that you probably already have in your kitchen anyways. And then Lauren talked a little bit about safety, but there's another study that I just kind of wanted to highlight really quickly, and it's by the EWG, which is the Environmental Working Group. And they actually have a really awesome Instagram if you guys are on Instagram and you're into this kind of thing, but I follow them, and they always post some really interesting studies. But the one that I wanted to highlight that they did, and I believe it was in 2007, was they showed that only 7% of cleaning products sufficiently disclose their composition or their ingredients that are in them. So if you are at the grocery store or Costco or wherever you order your cleaning products, even Amazon, and they're labeled green or all natural or safe, there's really not a lot of regulation around them to say that they have to disclose all of their ingredients. And this study by the Environmental Working Group kind of points out like only 7% of them actually do. So we have to be very hyper aware of what we're using, how we're using it, and who we're using it around, because you can't always trust the labels. So that same study by the EWG, they did have some recommendations for consumers like us, and their top 3 I kind of highlighted here. So they're saying, try safer homemade recipes using kitchen ingredients, which is kind of the whole genesis of this webinar tonight, so that's great. They also suggest that we be vocal with our schools, our daycares, our workplaces, and encourage those people and those companies to use certified green products. Products that we know what they are, what's in them, and they're clearly labeled as such. And then lastly, to support state and federal efforts to require cleaning product companies to disclose ingredients, because we have to do better. If we think we're cleaning green and we're actually not, and then in fact, you know, going back to the science that Lauren kind of talked about, it's causing cancer and, you know, allergies and skin irritations and all of that. You know, we have to do better. We have to do better for our kids because, you know, who else is going to protect them? So that was kind of my spiel on sustainability and zero waste and safety. So I think, Lauren, you're going to take the next section on the supplies.
Okay, I know. I feel like it was all good information, but that was a little doom and gloom, but it was all kind of like the bad stuff. So let's talk about some of the fun stuff, or the good stuff, you know, like, so really this is kind of, you know, I'm sure there's other things you could add to the list, but here's kind of like a brief overview of a green cleaning supply checklist. And I'm willing to bet you probably already have like half of these on hand. And then the other things you could, you know, other than the essential oils, could order off Amazon or get at Target. So some glass spray bottles. I think those are like the exact amber spray bottles that I have in my home. Got them off Amazon. Again, I am a little neurotic, so I bought some in blue that only go in the bathroom, and you know what breaks loose. If somebody mixes them up, I go a little crazy because I don't want my bathroom bottles in my kitchen or vice versa. So you can color code should you feel inclined, but that's not necessarily part of the green cleaning. But anyway, so just some glass spray bottles, some Castile soap, olive oil or some other kind of like carrier oil if you're wanting to either polish wood or like clean your wood floors. Baking soda, probably already have it on hand. Citric acid, that I ordered off of Amazon. That's for those, it'll make the baking soda bombs fizz. We'll talk about that recipe. It's literally just a couple ingredients, but those are great. White vinegar, again, probably something you already have on hand. Dryer balls, those are those, you know, balls in the picture. They're like wool, and they basically just soften your clothes, and then they also reduce the drying time, and then you can add essential oils to those to make your clothes smell nice. Then you're not using dryer sheets, you're not throwing it away, and you're not, again, adding those chemicals to your clothes. And then obviously like mason jars or some other maybe storage containers, and then the essential oils that you can kind of supercharge your cleaning solutions with. So what kind of essential oils are good for cleaning? Citrus oils typically are great because they have antibacterial, antimicrobial properties, but they're also really great degreasers. So if you're cleaning, you know, something in your kitchen that's kind of greasy and yucky, you know, citrus oils are going to be a great go-to. I like adding, you know, to like clean the sink, just some baking soda and a couple drops of lemon oil, and then scrub it up, or you can make a paste ahead of time. But citrus oils are great. Other oils that have, you know, antimicrobial properties and are good for cleaning are ones like melaleuca, eucalyptus, rosemary, clove, cinnamon's another good one. And then probably one of my favorite cleaning oils is Purify. It's actually called the Cleansing Blend. This smells so good. And just, I waited so long to try it. Like, I feel like I say this about everything from doTERRA, that I wait too long to try, that I hear everyone rave about, but I waited way too long to try it. And now my husband yelled at me for only ordering one last month. He's like, you just need to order 2 every month. And anyways, we add it to like all the laundry. I do it for different cleaning recipes. I put it in the diffuser. I literally do everything with it, but it smells so good. But it really is good at actually absorbing the odors and not just masking them. So it's great for laundry. We'll talk about some of the different ways you can use it in our oil hack section, but it's got, gosh, I should have looked it up offhand. It does have lemon in it, so it does have a citrusy smell to it, but also has citronella, Siberian fir, cilantro, trying to think what else is in it. But anyways, it's kind of, if you read the ingredients, to me, it sounds almost a little like I wonder, that seems like that might be interesting, but it's really good. It's one of my favorites. So, and then obviously, last but certainly not least, is On Guard. This is the protective blend. And so you can see that really what doTERRA has done is taken like basically all the powerhouse cleaning oils and ones that are good for your immune system and put them into one blend. So it's got wild orange, cloves, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary, which are good for your immune system, but they're also very potent antimicrobials, which makes it really great for so those are the ones. And then because, On Guard, again, is such a powerhouse for immune support, but then also for killing pathogens, doTERRA has really just a whole On Guard line. So they obviously have, the actual just essential oil that, if you're not new to oils, we use for everything in our like immune balm and all things immune support, but then it's also really great for cleaning the air. So then they also have taken that same oil and put them in different products. So like a hand sanitizer mist, they have I make my own hand soap. It's really easy, but if you're not even a DIY person, you can just buy the On Guard hand foam concentrate, and you can buy the dispensers, all in one spot. The On Guard cleaning concentrate, and then they have toothpaste and lozenges. I mean, they really have like everything On Guard. So because it is so potent. So the question is though, and I already kind of alluded to, you can hit the next slide if you don't mind, is how well does it work? Because that's ultimately what I need to know. Like I get like, okay, all the other stuff is bad and we don't want it, but like, does the natural stuff work? So this is not a picture. It's not from a peer-reviewed study, some of the other studies I referenced for. This is actually just a 5th grade science experiment, but I really do think that sometimes a picture can be worth 1,000 words. So this is a 5th grade science experiment. The students swabbed their chicken coop. They own chickens, so they swabbed their chicken coop, and then these are called petri dishes, plated it on the petri dish, and what you do when you're testing microbiology is you impregnate that little center disc with whatever solution you're testing. So you can see the Clorox, the Lysol, and then the On Guard, like literally kicked butt like against all the other ones. So pretty impressive results. And now, of course, this is just, one 5th grade study, but I have been to doTERRA's medical symposium, and I actually heard a microbiologist speak on On Guard, and she basically did this same kind of test where she plated it on a petri dish and the disc and On Guard, and actually killed resistant staph strains that we actually isolate for in the hospital, like amazingly well. And then she kind of translated that same experiment to cleaning a surface, and because she said sometimes it holds up in the lab but not necessarily in the live environment, and it certainly did. So they could not get that resistant staph to grow on the surface, on the counter. So that for me makes me feel really good cleaning my house with On Guard. So I do personally have it everywhere. It's in my hand soap, my cleaning sprays. I just have my separate ones for the bathroom and ones for the kitchen, but like I literally just pretty much clean my whole house with it. So that is a really good peace of mind for me.
Great.
You want to talk about
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so as far as recipes go, we have a ton in the ebook. So, I mean, I didn't want to like totally bore you guys and just like read through, a bunch of recipe after recipe. We've linked them all up in the ebook for you. So, but I just did want to give you a kind of a little snapshot just so you can see really how simple these are. So the On Guard, my all-purpose spray that I was mentioning that I use in both my bathroom and my kitchen, I literally just have one of those glass spray bottles. I take 3 tablespoons of the Castile soap. Then I drop in 20 drops of On Guard. I've experimented with different recipes. A lot of people, white vinegar is a very popular green cleaning agent. I tried it a few different ways. I actually like it better without, but some people like to add it in. So you certainly could include a cup of white vinegar, but I personally just do the Castile soap, the oil, and then I just top it off with water. You should use distilled water if you're not going to be going through it very quickly, because it'll just create a longer shelf life, or if like Cheryl recommends you made it up and say like a bigger batch. I, to be honest, just use tap water because I go through it pretty quickly. So it's not like, you know, I mean, it lasts me a while, but you know, I'm pulling it out daily to use it. So anyway.
I like to add in a citrus oil sometimes too, like a lemon or a lime or a tangerine, wild orange, because again, the citrus oils are super cleansing and they smell good. And if, you know, you're not going to add your added fragrance, so you want that lemony fresh or maybe.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then actually the same recipe, and this is in the ebook, but instead of, you can swap out On Guard, and one of my favorites now is I do 10 drops each of wild orange, purify, and grapefruit, and that smells fantastic. I use that mainly for like dusting and like wiping off surfaces, baseboards, that sort of thing. But then if it's been a place that I've done like raw chicken or bathroom, that sort of thing, I still stick with my On Guard just because all those studies I saw, it makes me feel good. But the other ones are still really great for cleaning and still have all those antibacterial properties. And then one that I highly recommend everybody make, especially if you have kids, honestly, it's fun to do. It's almost like a little science experiment you can do with your kids, are these fizzy toilet bombs. To be honest, I had been making like my own cleaning products for a while now, and I have swapped it out, but there were still a few things that, to be honest, I just hadn't quite found a great replacement for it, and so I was still using not so healthy things. But I finally made these toilet bombs, and they were so easy. It's like one of those things you're like, why did I not do this sooner? So it's just a cup of baking soda, a little bit of citric acid. Again, you can get that on Amazon. It's very inexpensive. 1.5 tablespoons of Castile soap. And then you can pick whatever essential oils you like. Again, I've really been on a Purify Wild Orange Grapefruit kick, but you could certainly do On Guard or Melaleuca or any of those cleaning oils or combinations that you like, or play around. And then you're just gonna put them in a mold. I have like a silicone mold. You could use an ice cube tray, but you basically mix it all together, pack it down. It sits overnight, and then it will solidify. It'll be soft when you first put it in, but then if you let it sit overnight, it totally solidifies to like these cubes. And then you just drop them in your toilet and they fizz, and then you can clean your toilet however you want to clean, or you can also just kind of drop them in between cleaning, and it helps, you know, keep things clean and fresh. So anyways, there's lots more recipes in the ebook, like I said, but we're just kind of going to give you a little snippet. There's a like carpet freshener recipe, a hardwood floor cleaner, a soap scum. Cheryl put in a mildew spray, and then these like pre-made cleaning wipes, kind of like she was talking about, like a solution that you can soak them in and just have them ready to go to wipe stuff down. So anyways, there's lots of different recipes, window cleaner, you name it. You really can clean your house top to bottom, but I mean, you really can clean your house, I say like, what, 80% or more with some Castile soap, water, and essential oils. I feel like is what I clean like the bulk of my house with, and then obviously throw in some baking soda, a couple other things for the rest of it. So anyway.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, I just did, like I said, that big batch of those fizzy toilet bombs, and if any of you guys were at our customer event last month, I made a big batch of them, and I just had the jar there, and people opened them and they were like, oh my gosh, this smells amazing. So I drop them in the toilet and I leave them there, and it's almost like a room freshener, you know, for the bathroom even too. And, you know, it fizzes and our kids love it. So, yeah, no, that's a really good one. So I guess we wanted to go over a couple different oil hacks, we're calling them. They're not necessarily in the ebook per se, but these are kind of just like tips and tricks that we've kind of learned along the way. So a really popular one is the lemon oil or the Purify oil if you forget your clothes in the washer. And let me see here, we have some questions on the chat.
Oh yeah,
You're just typing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So if you forget your clothes in the washer, like I often do, and you want to kind of freshen up the wash, or even just put a couple drops in your wet load before you put it in the dryer, the lemon oil and the Purify oil is a great option, and it really freshens up the load. Another thing I wanted to mention on that too is, you know, the wool dryer balls that we talked about earlier on the supplies list. You can throw any of your favorite essential oils in there and get that scent throughout the load. And that's, again, instead of like your bounce sheets and those, again, you have to throw away. But this is really great for people like me who are so allergic to synthetic fragrance, can't handle it on their skin. I'm super sensitive to, even the bounce sheets, which you would think is not that much chemical, but it really can be to someone who has really sensitive skin. And then my 4-year-old, he actually developed eczema all over his body, and we didn't know what the deal was. We took him to the dermatologist, and that was one of her first questions to me was, what's your detergent and do you use bounce sheets? And, I use, the free and clear kind of detergent. I've used On Guard before, the laundry detergent, but I never thought that the bounce sheets would really have that much chemical in it. And the dermatologist said, yes, actually, that's a very common allergen. And people with eczema and sensitive skin, they can't even handle it. So anyways, my kind of hack there is lemon oil, Purify, Melaleuca is great on the dryer ball. I use lavender a lot of times. And it's really great because I get that scent back into my laundry. I get that fresh smell without the synthetic fragrance. And so it's safe for our skin, it's safe for our bodies. So I love that. The other hack we were talking about a few slides back is the On Guard Cleaner Concentrate. So if you haven't used that before, it's such a good kind of quick solution to using On Guard. So you just take 2 tablespoons of the cleaner concentrate. It has the On Guard oil in it, and then you just fill up your glass spray bottle the rest of the way with your distilled water or your tap water, whatever you're using. And you can use that as a counter spray. You can use the concentrate directly as a stain remover. And I've actually had a lot of success in cleaning grease stains on the oven or on our stove, and I just use the concentrate directly, let it sit. So again, that's kind of our alternative to that easy off, that weird foaming kind of, what is it called? The easy off where you spray it and you have to let that foam sit overnight and then the grease kind of wipes right off. Well, the On Guard Cleaner Concentrate does the same thing. We had a question here. What size bottle for On Guard Concentrate Spray Stain Remover? So the stain remover actually is going to be the direct cleaner concentrate. So you could take like a tablespoon of that and actually apply that directly. You could dilute it a little bit with water, but I've definitely used it for like my son's in T-ball and he has white baseball pants. We've used the cleaner concentrate directly in maybe like a small tub and soak that overnight directly. So you're not going to dilute it down all the way like the bottle says. So when you get the cleaner concentrate, it'll say on the side of the bottle, it'll say 2 tablespoons plus 20 ounces of water in a spray bottle, and that's kind of like your counter spray. And then there's another recipe on there that says 3 tablespoons to the 20 ounces or 22 ounces of water for tougher jobs like your bathrooms or your ovens or your refrigerators or things like that. But if you use the concentrate directly in a more targeted form, that's going to be like your stain remover, your tougher jobs, your grease, your dirt stains, grass stains, whatever it is. So hopefully that helps. Another one of our oil hacks is the cotton ball diffuser, which I love to use for my kids and their shoes. So what the cotton ball diffuser is literally just take a cotton ball, 1 drop of Purify or Melaleuca, and I'll put them in their stinky tennis shoes. I'll drop them in their sports bags. So again, in my son's T-ball bags, I'll put it all over his equipment, leave it overnight. You can even put it in your car vents, so like in your air conditioner vents, your cotton ball, put it in there, leave it overnight. And so that's your alternative to those, those trees that you hang in your rearview mirror and it's like your air freshener in your car. Instead, you can use the cotton ball diffuser. So Patty says, love the cotton ball diffuser. So yeah, that's a really good one. And the alternative to that too is you could put them, like for me, my son who's in baseball sometimes has double headers or back-to-back games. So like a Friday night game and a Saturday morning. I don't have time to, wash the jersey, wash the, all of the uniforms sometimes. So I'll do the cotton ball diffusers and I'll do Purify in a spray bottle and I'll spray that all down. again, that's an alternative to your old school Febreze, right? It's the all natural, safe kind of version of using purifying lemon to kind of freshen those things up. I don't do that all the time, but you know, when he has back-to-back games and I'm in a bind, I'll go to that kind of trick. Lemon oil as another hack is also a natural gooby gone. So I always like to use it as if you buy glassware and it has like the sticker label on the bottom and you can't quite get that residue off, or my kids, if they stick a sticker on a window or a mirror and there's that residue, if you just do a couple drops of the lemon oil, it wipes right off. So it's really helpful that way. You can also use it as a stain remover. So if your kids, you know, have Sharpie on the wall or they have ink stamps. I know one day my son had this stamp and he stamped it all over our house. Like, oh my God. So I used some lemon oil and I used that magic eraser sponge, you know, that you get at the grocery store. And the lemon oil worked really, really well and got the stains off of our walls. Unfortunately, we had to deal with that one. And then I like this one too. I think Lauren added this one, was a drop of essential oil to the cardboard insert of your toilet paper roll. And that's kind of like your natural like air freshener in the bathroom. It gives the, you know, kind of a clean scent. So lemon, purify, melaleuca, any of the citrus oils we recommended, it would be a nice kind of scent. And then I guess another oil hack, I guess, kind of relates to safety too, and Lauren's kind of alluded to it a couple times with her blue cleaner bottle that she keeps in the bathroom. But for me, a lot of times with these older cleaning products that I've used in the past, you have to keep them, you know, the Clorox wipes. You actually have to keep them in a locked box or a locked cabinet away from your kids, right? But for me, I have 2 little boys. When they're in the bathroom, they're quite messy. They get water everywhere. Sometimes they don't make it in the toilet. So to have to keep my cleaning products out of the bathroom where they are is super hard, right? So I always have a spray bottle on hand with the safe, you know, On Guard Cleaner Concentrate blend, or, you know, some of the counter recipes that Lauren mentioned, and I can have them in the bathroom with my boys. You know, I can spray them down, I can wipe it up, and I know that it's safe. Even if they touch it right after, you know, On Guard's safe for them. It's safe for them to breathe in. The lemon, if you add lemon or wild orange to that, that's also safe for them. But it's also very effective in the bathroom. So I guess that's another kind of oil hack that I wanted to mention, because these products are safe to be around pets, young kids, and for us to breathe in. So I think that was all on the oil hacks. Lauren, did you have any others that you wanted to mention for the oil hacks?
No, I mean, if anyone on here has any they'd like to add, I always like learning, but I think those are the ones. Yeah, those are the ones with the cardboard insert. I will say I learned that from someone else, and like every time you pull the toilet paper, you really do get, it's almost like a little mini diffuser in there. So I did lemongrass, and that one was really good. I mean, you really could use whatever you want. But yeah, no, that's all I have.
Okay, great. And then another way to kind of clean the air in your home, we listed a couple of our favorite diffuser blends. And then this one's Lauren's favorite, Purify Wild Orange and Grapefruit, which smells really, really nice. Lemon, lime, and grapefruit. You can do On Guard and Wild Orange. Again, On Guard is going to kill the germs. So I especially like to use this one when someone's sick in our house, or we've had a play date and there's been a bunch of kids, or maybe someone's been coughing, or you're kind of just like, oh my gosh, where's the On Guard? Get it in the diffuser as quickly as we can. So I love to use that. Lavender, lemon, and rosemary is a really nice clean scent as well. So you can play with these obviously, but the reason we use the diffuser and essential oils a lot of times is for mood support, but you also are cleaning the air home when you're doing that. So it's a really nice option and a natural option. And then just lastly, I just wanted to kind of tie in the promo again this month is the 200 PV promo with the On Guard, the oil that we talked about a little bit, the hand sanitizer mist, which is a good option because it kind of comes ready to go. You can spray it and use. You don't have to make your own. You can make your own, but this is a nice kind of travel option. The toothpaste and then the wild orange. And of course, the cleaner concentrate is 10% off this month. So I think that was kind of all we had for tonight. If there's any other questions, you guys can feel free to leave them in the chat. We can answer them here. We have a few more minutes. But then also we will be emailing out the ebook that we talked about with all the recipes that we prepared for the class tonight. The ones that we like to use, the ones that our group Obsessed with Essentials on Facebook, a lot of our users have loved using as well. So I think that's kind of it. Lauren, is there anything else that?
No, I've actually read a couple questions in the chat that I actually am not sure. So maybe I'll bounce them off you. If not, we'll look up the answers and get back to you. But someone wants to know if the On Guard concentrate is okay on real marble counters. My guess is yes, because there's nothing abrasive in it, but I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah, I would say too with that is I would say to test, a small.
Yeah, test like the underside or in, they always say test a conspicuous spot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if it's safe for all countertops, but we definitely have different recipes for like different surfaces, like wood cleaners, countertops, things like that. But if you're unsure, definitely test a small area and make sure that it's safe.
And then Sarah was just asking about cleaning with citrus oils and cats. She was looking on the Essential Vet. Shannon in our group I was telling her we have someone who's like the pet expert. I'm not. I wish I know who to go to. So that she's the one I usually funnel like questions to. My hunch is that it's okay. You're not like putting them on the cat. If you're like spraying your countertops and that sort of thing. And it's probably much cleaner than safer probably even than just the alternative. But again, that's mainly my hunch, not going off of like a resource.
So
she has cats, Cheryl. I don't have cats either. Shannon's not on.
Yeah, so Shannon's in our group, and we could definitely email her or tag you in one of her posts. And I think she's done that webinar actually.
She has. Yeah.
So we could maybe tag.
It's Sarah Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah, let me write down your name, Sarah, and then we'll get back to you on that question. All right. Well, I think that was all the questions that we got here. But thank you all for joining us tonight. It was really fun getting it together and getting all the recipes together. And we will be sending out the ebook to all of you that signed up on the Eventbrite link after this. And we'll be also posting the ebook in our Obsessed with Essentials Facebook group.
Yeah. Oh, and Jackie, you're asking about baby wipes. We didn't put baby wipes. It definitely falls under cleaning, but there's another couple gals that I know they did an ebook for babies. So we probably already have a recipe in our group somewhere. And then I told you I'm a nurse, but I'm actually on maternity leave right now. I have I'm not even sure how old he is. He's 9 or 10 weeks. So, the second one, you can't keep it many taps, but he's little. I made my own spray. My daughter had really sensitive skin where we couldn't use any commercial wipe, even like the all natural, like none of them all make her butt just like blisters open up. So even with her, I found these just dry wipes. This isn't very green, but they are disposable, but they're just dry. There's nothing on them. And then I just got a spray bottle and I did just a little, like a tablespoon of like fractionated coconut oil and then some lavender, melaleuca, and frankincense and put that in there and then just top the rest off with water and shake it. And so I just spray him and then use my wipes. So it's not really like a wipe recipe, but you probably could even just put that, she's saying, okay, you could even probably, if you wanted to, you could take like Cheryl was saying, like a mason jar, and you could put that same type of solution if you wanted to not have to do the spray, and put it in have them already moistened in a jar. But that's what I do, and it really works well. And you can really tell it's like very healing. It's very like soothing for their skin. And then I basically have the same thing, like pretty much the same oils, but regular coconut oil in a little jar on his changing table, and I just follow that up. Like I put that on his bum, and we're done, just to prevent diaper rash. Anyways, that's how you use it for baby care, for that stuff.
Yeah. And I don't know if a lot of people saw, but it seems like they are launching a baby line this month, and we don't know. They just released literally like one image, and it's a stork. We don't know the products that are coming out, but they're alluding to baby products coming. So maybe there'll be some sort of baby wipe, you know.
Yeah. I know, I'm really excited. I'm really hoping for a baby wash.
Yes.
I'm sure we all have a list of things. I'm sure whatever it is will be good, but.
So we'll see. Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned.
All right.
All right. Well, certainly if you're in our group and you have follow-up questions, you can post there. If you're not, whoever invited you here, you know, that they'll probably follow up with you, or you can follow up with them with questions, and they can work on getting you, you know, plugged in and stuff. So, yeah, Patty, she says she's obsessed. I know it is crazy how you kind of get bitten by the essential oil bug. That's how I feel. You kind of start dabbling, and then you dabble a little more, and then before you know it, you're like, you know, putting cotton balls in your husband's shoes and stuff, and it's like they're everywhere. So, anyways, all right, everyone. Well, thanks, Cheryl. We'll see you later till the next webinar.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. Bye.